Hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good everybody. Hello, everybody. I'm Randy Hopkins with Komprise. We are an unstructured data management software solution based in Campbell, California. So I'm located in Portland, Oregon, and today I have with me Komprise Senior Systems Engineer Chris Dearden. Hello, Chris.
Hi, Randy. How's it going?
Good, good. So he's over in London. He's probably going to have a cup of tea. I'm going to have my coffee with my K-cup. So we'll have a quick cup of coffee here. So welcome to TechKrunch at Komprise. So TechKrunch is where we bite into a topic and we demonstrate a use case or a technology feature that you have asked for. We take a technical approach on it. We do a demo and it's usually less than 10 minutes, and that's the goal, make it a quick bite. Today, we're going to be talking about something that's new at Komprise. We just had a product update, and this is called Deep Analytics Actions. So Komprise actually launched Deep Analytics a few years ago, and it's heavily used by our customers. And what it is we've built we view all of the data across all the silos, across all the infrastructure in the different silos, different operating systems, S3, SMB, NFS, object store, etc., and build a global file index of all those files. And what we do is we analyze all the metadata, put it in this index, and enable the users and end users to do queries, if you will, searchable queries using APIs or our UI across all those millions and billions of files. And those queries allow the users to be able to select data across those silos as if they're sitting on a single location. And so that's what the Deep Analytics does. What we did is we added new functionality to it. And the new functionality is called Analytics. So what that is it gives the user now not only the ability to look and do searches and queries about their data and tag their data, it also gives them the ability to take action on those queries, which is really, really cool. Imagine looking through billions of files, finding those particular files that might belong to a particular individual, a particular log files or trace files, and doing something with those files, not just being able to find them. And that's what we're going to show you how to do today. So Chris is volunteered to do a demo for us, and we're going to really show you, you're going to be amazed how fast you can do these queries and how easy it is to do these queries across the whole ecosystem. Again, there's no software on the data servers, no software on the clients, and we're completely out of the hot data path. So Chris, why don't we start with you, and you can show us the cloud director and then show us how to connect to the storage for those end users who don't know how to do that, how we build a global file index, and then build a query or two and take action on those queries. Okay.
Sounds good. Let me just get my screen share.
Oh, and by the way, while Chris is doing that, there's a question mark bar on the right-hand side. So please feel free to ask questions, and we will respond to those in real time. Thanks.
Brilliant. Thanks, Randy.
So by the way, do you have a cup of tea on you or no?
No, I've got water.
Okay. There you go.
It's late in the evening.
Is that too much of a stereotype for me to ask you if you have tea?
No, I'm more of a coffee drinker. Much more of a coffee drinker. Yeah. So here we have the Komprise director showing our data donut. So this is the graph of all of the storage that we currently have connected to the system, showing that access time and volume of data by access time. And we can see here the colder the data, the bluer the chunk on the graph, and just over 50% of our data has been dormant for 12 months or more.
Yeah, so this is a really cool view. A lot of people, this is the first thing that users will see when they log into Komprise once their data is connected. And it's really this could be looking across thousands of shares or hundreds of shares across different file systems and different locations. And it also shows on the bottom what the growth rate is and what it's projected to be. And what we see generally in our customers is that because files are getting bigger, because of the Internet of Things, because we're collecting more of them, we're seeing anywhere from about, they say 42% growth on unstructured data. We're not quite seeing 42% growth, but it's pretty close to that. Yeah,
absolutely. So when we choose what we want to look at, we can add a file server, and Komprise is set up out of the box to work with pretty much anything that you can put files on, whether that is a traditional Windows file server, whether it's a dedicated file platform like NetApp or EMT Isilon, but also some of the newer file platforms such as Nutanix Files, but also the cloud-based NAS platforms like Azure Files and Azure NetApp Files and Amazon EFS. Once we've got those added and discovered some shares in them, we enable the share that we're interested in. And once that's enabled, the Komprise grid is going to crawl its way through the directory structure and build up this high-level data really, really quickly of that file system metadata. So we can look at this data, and we can look at a little bit of some of the other data that we collect, and that's really handy. But if we want to go deeper, sorry, Randy, you had a question.
I'm sorry. I said we'll answer these questions in real time. You probably can't see it, but there's a question out there. You mentioned we'll crawl through and analyze that data and build our index. But it's the question is how long does you have 2 petabytes of data on there? How long does it take to analyze 1 petabyte of data?
Yeah, we should be able to analyze a couple of petabytes of data in a day, even with a small footprint grid. If you have more data, then we can expand the grid to be able to analyze that. So we start getting results back within minutes. And those results, we just improve on those as we work our way further through the directory structure.
Yeah, we've seen analysis rates from a petabyte to 10 petabytes a day, depending on the infrastructure that we're looking at.
Yes, yeah, and the data layout can affect it as well, but that's a pretty good rule of thumb to look at. But as well as creating this high-level summary data, and that's very handy, we can also build our deep analytics index. And this is an index which is hosted by Komprise. If you're running one of our cloud directors, you don't need to deploy any additional platforms within your data center. This is all on a platform that's hosted by us. And what it is an index that contains all of the metadata for every single file that we've crawled. In this particular platform, we're looking at about 25 million, but we've easily got customers with thousands times more than that, 250 million up to 1 billion files without any problem. And you can filter and create views on this data. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a view and save it as a query. And what I'm going to look for is log files. So I want to look for file type log. And I want to look for log files that have not been touched in a month. And by looking down at this data, this is log files that have been generated. If there was a problem, we probably would have analyzed them sooner. But we don't want to just delete them. We don't want them to roll over, because at some point we might need to roll back to them. But equally, we don't want them to sit on our primary storage. And these log files are going to be distributed across multiple file shares. I could have various platforms feeding in log data. So to be able to manage this, I want to be able to manage it as a file type rather than managing it as a series of file shares. And to do that, we're going to use the deep analytics actions. So the first thing I need to do is save this query. And we're going to call this one TechKrunch old log files. Right, I've got my query saved, and I can go back into the data management plan. And you'll see from the plan at the moment, we don't have anything set. We don't have any purple section on the inside of the donut. We have one group and it's empty. And we're going to call this group TK logs. Now, those of you that are aware of the platform might notice that this looks a little bit different. It's a somewhat cleaner interface. And the first thing we want to choose is what action we're going to do. And we want to move our log files. Now, in this particular setup, it's remarkably similar to how we have it currently. But I have the option to change my filter into, rather than just by age, I want to base my filter on a deep analytics query. And it allows me to drop down and select the query that we just built. So that's file type log, accessed more than 30 days ago. And I can choose which shares I'm going to apply that to. So I can either import the shares from the query itself, or I can manually choose it. I'm going to choose this across my entire environment. So anything that's a log, we're going to move to our target. Last thing I need to do is select the target.
So a couple of questions popped up. When we move all those files from all those file shares over to that target, can we now leverage that data on the target as a single data store?
Absolutely. So they'll be moved into a top level folder for all the queries of that. You can access that directly, even if it's in Object Store, because we're writing it in its native format. You can also access it through the Komprise mount point, or actually through the Komprise dynamic links that we'll leave in place when we move that log file off to its second tier of storage.
Yeah, that's a really key nuance for those folks who are not familiar with Komprise. When we move those files, we are moving them transparently from the user. The user doesn't know the file's been moved. The application doesn't know the file was moved. We leave a symbolic link behind. And so therefore, any application that opens that file on the original destination will still open that file on the original destination.
Fantastic. And we can now see that we have the simulation set up of how much data we would be moving to our target.
Cool.
So back to the slides.
Thank you, Mr. Darden. That was wonderful. So we're learning all the time, what some of the use cases people are using us for deep analytics and for deep analytics actions. So if you think about it, you're not just managing storage. Storage doesn't have a lot of value. It's the data that has the value, and data will outlive storage every day of the week. And that's what really the CEOs care about. That's what the engineers care about. That's what the applications that want to do analysis care about, is the actual data files. And what's difficult often when trying to do projects and trying to find data for analysis or moving it is a lot of those tasks that are done in that kind of environment are really what's called an imperative type of application, meaning people have to manually go and do it one at a time, set up scripts, set up jobs, and things like that. What we built is an imperative, a declarative design. And what that means is you set up the rule once, and then from then on, every day or 6 days or 7 days or every half a day, depending on what you want, we'll go through and find those files, like those log files that Chris just selected, and we'll capture those and move those almost real time. You can set it up to run every hour if you'd like to. So that's a declarative paradigm. And so really the goal here is to try to find that data and move it to the right place. And that's really what we're doing. And there's a lot of applications that might be interesting to do this. One application might be, the log files coming from automobiles, for example. If you want to, those are all probably going into a location at the edge. If you want to capture all those edge log files from automobiles that are coming in and move it to a certain central location for analytics, that's a fine use case. Another use case might be, I want to find every large file that's out there that hasn't been accessed in 5 years and do something with it. Put it to less expensive storage, or just delete it, for example. Or there might be regulatory reasons that you might want. For regulatory reasons, we need to have a certain set of our data. There might be medical images or legal documents. We need to have those in a worm compliant, protected device for 10 years or the life of the patient. And that's another application for doing that. And all of these use cases are now doable by using these queries through API or through our UI with Komprise. So those are some of the use cases that we've seen. Those are some of the use cases.
Just had a couple of questions pop in there, Randy.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So the first one we have is, can we create these queries via an API? Komprise is built on top of a REST API that we should be able to interact with, and deep analytics will be no exception for this, to be able to execute and extract. At the moment, we would normally just extract the results of the query, but we can also then potentially modify a query and for for use within the plan. The second question we had, are we seeing customers allowing end users to create their own queries? For example, could researchers use Komprise, or is this for storage admins? With the right role-based access control in place, it's something that we're certainly looking to be able to do, as the power of deep analytics spreads out from being a storage tool that storage admins use to being a data tool that those researchers and the consumers and wranglers of data would use. It's something that we definitely want them to be able to have access to, but we need to make sure we give them access in the right and safe and secure way.
Good. Great questions. Perfect. Good. Yeah, so we're learning all the time more use cases, and the API question is coming up more often, and there are some of our customers who are using only APIs to interact with this. Okay, so there are a lot of resources. We do have a TechKrunch site. If you go to komprise.com/TechKrunch, you'll see the library that we have out there. And next month, we're going to add another element to that library, and that's going to be talking about our multi-site abilities. There's also some white papers on deep analytics as well. So just go to komprise.com, and you'll find those easily. So I do want to say thank you for this, and Chris, thank you so much for your help today. And for everybody, have a great rest of the week and be well.